What's going on, Alabama fans? The Athletics' Dane Brugler had a very interesting take on Ty Simpson and what could be in store for the future for him. So because there's a lot of time to go until we get to that college football playoff game versus Oklahoma, I want to dive into it on today's show. So help me out. Share today's video. I want to hear your guys' takes down in the comment section. Share it. Send it to a friend. Social media, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, Facebook. Help me out and spread the word and share today's video. What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys here on the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, we are talking about the future here of Alabama's quarterback position, specifically what the future holds here for Ty Simpson. Dane Brugler, of The Athletic, NFL draft expert, he had a take on what Ty Simpson could do here with this upcoming NFL draft decision and who ends up being Alabama's quarterback in 2026. We're going to talk about all that here on today's show. But Dane, like I said, had a very interesting take on Ty Simpson's upcoming NFL decision here. And, for a while, draft experts and analysts, they were kind of back and forth on, Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza as the top two quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft. But over the past 5 weeks or so, that has kind of shifted now. And Dane Brugler is now suggesting that Ty Simpson should probably go back to college next season. You can see he put this tweet out the other day during the SEC championship game saying somebody asked him, what does this game mean for Ty Simpson at this point? He said, watching Ty Simpson before and after Halloween feels like two different quarterbacks right now in the offense, whether it's the rushing, receiving, blocking. It is a complete mess right now, but the quarterback must be more consistent. Today is only his 13th start, and it shows. Simpson needs more time in college, in my opinion. Now, if that were to happen, if Ty Simpson comes back to Alabama next season, you would have a very, very full quarterback room, and you would have a couple guys who are pretty old at this point. Ty Simpson would be 23. He turns 23 on December 21st of this year. Austin Mack, by the way, we'll get into Austin Mack and Keelon Russell and what it can mean for them here in just a little bit as well. But Austin Mack would be a redshirt junior. Keelon Russell, I would assume at this point, he only played 2 games in the regular season. They're going to end up throwing that red shirt on him. He'll be a redshirt freshman next season. Austin Mack will be 20. Keelon Russell will be 19. And then you're bringing in Jett Thomalla and Tayden Kaawa as well. So if Ty Simpson ended up staying at Alabama next season, he would, probably be pretty, he would be more comfortable in this system. He would have more games under his belt. I think he would be more confident as well, but it would create this kind of backlog in this quarterback room right now here for the Crimson Tide. This was the full quote from Dane Brugler, from his, creating the beast, building the beast podcast. He puts together a massive document going into the NFL draft every single year. So stick with me. It's a couple quotes here. He said, I do wonder if this could be a Carson Beck-like situation for Ty Simpson, where maybe it's time for both sides just to move on. And I know I'm saying this with more games yet to be played. Alabama got into the playoffs, so we'll see them in Norman, Oklahoma against a very good Oklahoma team. And so we're jumping the gun a little bit here. But just as we look forward to the offseason, and a big NFL decision that Ty Simpson has to make, Alabama has 5-star Keelon Russell, a Texas kid, ready to take over. If Simpson comes back at the very least, I think it'll be a competition between those two. We'll talk about that part of that quote here in just a little bit as well. And so this is a situation where, does he maybe go with the Carson Beck plan where he declares for the NFL draft but keeps his options open, and if another team comes in and says, hey, we'll give you a couple $1 million to come be our quarterback, I think to me he needs more experience. He does. 13 games is just not enough. And we are seeing that play out right now. He's a very smart quarterback, but there are numerous times where you look at the tape and you can see, he works left to right. He got through and worked to his third read. But I think the defense really changes up the picture and messes, pre-snap and post-snap. Those are situations where his inexperience really shows. He just hasn't seen that yet. So when you're a quarterback who has just not seen a lot of things that the defense is going to throw at you, you are at a disadvantage, especially when you are not getting the blocking down in front and at the NFL level where everything is just so much faster. Good luck. Dane Brugler, very smart guy when it comes to the NFL draft, makes a lot of really good points there, and we're going to dissect a couple of those points here in just a second. But first, I want to hear from you guys down at the pinned comment of today's show. What will Ty Simpson end up doing after this season? Will he declare for the NFL draft? Will he hit the transfer portal? Or will he stay here at Alabama? Let me know what you guys think down at the pinned comment of today's video. All right, so I also wanted to touch on this. There was a couple possible destinations that Dane Brugler threw out there, and even Billy Beebe, one of the other producers here at Chat Sports, threw out Indiana as well. I think that's a logical fit for him with Fernando Mendoza going to the NFL draft as the number one quarterback in this year's draft. But they also brought up LSU. You got Lane Kiffin down there. I think he could probably fit into that system pretty well. And then Tennessee makes a lot of sense as well. He is from Tennessee. They were in his top coming out of high school. It definitely does make a lot of sense. Those three schools, and I'm sure there's some other schools that could possibly be some possible transfer portal destinations there for Ty Simpson if he so chooses to take that route. But, like Dane Brugler brought up, the regression here for Ty Simpson over the past couple of weeks has not been very good. And it's not all on Ty Simpson, but a lot of it is. Once you get into the season here, teams have a lot of tape and they are able to do a lot of different stuff to you. They're blitzing him a whole lot more than they were doing at the beginning of the season. We know Ty, in the back half of the season here, has had a bit of an issue fumbling the football as well. But, man, when you really break it down, the first 8 games to the last 5 games, man, it just has not been a good finish to the season here for Ty Simpson. Like I said, they are blitzing him a whole lot more. You can see pretty much every metric here, besides turnovers, has gone down for Ty Simpson. The passing efficiency rating has absolutely plummeted. His completion percentage has plummeted. Yards per game, the touchdowns, and the turnovers have gone up. He has had more turnovers, that's fumbles and interceptions, in the last 5 games than he had in the first 8 games. I don't know what's going on right now, whether he's a little bit banged up or whether teams are just adjusting to what they saw on film for the first 8 games. And now they're, blitzing him a whole lot more now and doing a bunch of things post-snap. But Ty Simpson has really struggled here in the, back half of the season. And, when he was a possible, number 1, number 2 overall pick in the first half of the season, he has pretty much dropped out of the, first round when it comes to that, NFL draft picture there. So we'll see. There's a lot of big decisions that Ty Simpson's going to have to make here in the next couple of months. All right, we'll continue here with just a second on that Keelon, Russell, and Austin Mack conversation. But first, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's a holiday season right now. Best time of the year for sports. You have bowl games coming up here in just a couple of days. You have basketball matchups in full swing, playoff pushes. Alabama does still go to Norman, Oklahoma here in, just a couple of days. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are making decisions every single day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which bowl games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. And that, my friends, is on PrizePicks. This is what we got cooked up for a couple bowl games coming up here. Army versus Navy, America's game this week. Going with Blake Horvath, quarterback for Navy, more than passing plus rushing yards. And you're probably thinking, Chris, why would you go 227.5 for the passing plus rushing? All they do is run the ball. Well, Navy does actually throw the ball a little bit, and actually against the against Air Force, he absolutely cooked. Had almost 400 yards passing in that game. So it does make sense to go the more than on that a little bit there. And then also Washington and Boise State coming up this weekend as well. Going with Jonah Coleman, more than only needs a half touchdown in that game. Could be rushing or receiving, but like I said, only needs a half touchdown for that one to hit. New feature alert, by the way, here on PrizePicks. They now offer early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. PrizePicks is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in today. So download the PrizePicks app and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link, by the way, down in the comment section and the description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Now, coming up next on today's show, we're going to be talking about what happens if Ty Simpson ends up leaving, whether that's to the NFL draft or to the transfer portal. We showed you the guys earlier. You got Austin Mack, Keelon Russell, Jett Thomalla, and Tayden Kaawa. Both of those guys coming in here as freshmen for Alabama. And this is, an Alabama fan thing. We all do it. Someone always gets overlooked. The next guy at that quarterback position, Mac Jones, in particular, was a guy that was getting overlooked a lot. He ended up winning a national championship for Alabama. He was a Heisman, finalist there as well. I'm not saying Austin Mack is going to be, the same exact storyline that, Mac Jones was for Alabama, but, I do think a lot of people are overlooking him right now. Going into next season, Austin Mack is going to be a redshirt junior. Keelon Russell, most likely anyways, is going to end up being a redshirt freshman, and I get the hype. Keelon Russell was a 5-star, the number 2 player overall coming out of high school just last recruiting cycle. But look, Austin Mack has been in this Kalen DeBoer system for a very, very long time. He was supposed to be in that 2024 recruiting class, ended up reclassifying, joining Washington a year before he was actually supposed to come out of high school there. So I understand the hype. With Keelon Russell, but I don't want people to overlook Austin Mack because still, I think he is a very, very good player, and, I do think he could end up winning that quarterback battle going into next season. So I want to hear from you guys down inside the comments, and I know we're going to get a lot of KRs down there, and that is totally fine, but be honest with me. Who will be Alabama's starting quarterback next season? This is all, if Ty Simpson does end up leaving, which he probably is going to end up doing. Type AM for Austin Mack or KR for Keelon Russell. Now, like I said, I know a lot of people are hyped up about Keelon Russell, but I do want to make a case here for Austin Mack. Like I said just a second ago, next year would be Austin Mack's 4th year in this Kalen DeBoer / Ryan Grubb system. He enrolled in Washington back in August of 2023 because he ended up reclassifying. He joined Michael Penix Jr. in that quarterback room there, so he had an entire year there. By the way, Ryan Grubb did also recruit Austin Mack at Washington as well. So I think that makes some sense to bring up there. He has been quarterback 2 for Alabama when given those opportunities this year. He's played in 3 games. He played in that Wisconsin game. He played in the ULM game. And he also played in that Eastern Illinois game as well, where I thought he actually played really well. He was 5 for 5 passing, did also have that rushing touchdown. Showed some ability, being able to run the football as well. He looked very, very comfortable running the offense. I get it. It's late in the game versus Eastern Illinois, but he did look extremely comfortable there. And Keelon Russell, I get it. There's a lot of excitement for this kid right now. And going into next season, he would have an entire season and offseason at that point under his belt. He is a very dynamic player, whether that's through the air or whether that's running the football. He's an extremely athletic guy, and, he does seem very, very mature, beyond his years at this point right now. But I say all that, needless to say, this is going to be a very, very fun battle going into next spring. As of right now, I'm going to think with my head and not my heart at this point. And I'm going to say, if I'm making a way too far in the future prediction for Alabama's quarterback next season, I'm going to go with Austin Mack. And now you can clip this, you can save it, you can tweet it to Old Takes Exposed if I'm wrong next year. I don't really care. We're playing the fun assumptions game right now. But Ryan Grubb did recruit Austin Mack at Washington. He has been in this offensive system going back to August of 2023 at Washington. So this year is his 3rd full year in this system. Next year is going to end up being his 4th. Could Keelon Russell win the job next season? Absolutely. This kid is going to be a special player when he gets his opportunity. It's going to be a really fun quarterback battle going into next spring, but I really do urge Alabama fans to not just look past Austin Mack because you're excited, and rightfully so, about Keelon Russell. All right, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We're going to keep talking about Alabama's quarterback situation, whether that's going into next year, whether that's going into the college football playoffs. And by the way, we will be live for that Oklahoma college football playoff game as well. So do not miss out. Join the community here at the Alabama Football Report and hit that sub button for me right now.